We're always told to dream big, right? But what if the real secret to success isn't just the size of your goal, but how you actually frame it? Today, we are going to break down a framework that turns those big, vague ambitions into results you can actually achieve. And stick around, because we're also going to uncover why some of the most popular ways to measure success can actually lead you down the wrong path. Let's dive in. I mean, who hasn't had a thought like this? It sounds great, it feels good to say, but as an actual goal, it's pretty useless. It's like having a destination in mind with no map, no address, no idea how to even start the car. Where do you even begin? A vague goal like that is basically a recipe for spinning your wheels and going nowhere. It's like telling a friend, let's go to that city, without actually naming the city. But don't worry, there's a simple tool that works like a GPS, turning these fuzzy wishes into a concrete plan you can actually follow. And that tool, that secret sauce, is the SMART framework. This is what takes you from daydreaming about success to actually making it happen. This just nails it, doesn't it? One is a wish floating around in the clouds. The other, that's a mission. It has a clear target, it has a deadline, and that right there is what gives you focus and real momentum. So let's break it down really quick. S is for specific. Don't just say, I want to get in shape. Say, I'm going to run a 5K race this fall. See the difference? M is for measurable. You need numbers so you know if you're winning. A is for achievable. You want to stretch yourself, for sure, but not so much that you just give up. R is for realistic. Be ambitious, but start from where you are right now. And finally, my favorite, T for time-bound. You have to give yourself a deadline. A goal without a deadline is just a wish. This creates that all-important urgency. Okay, so that's great for your personal goals, but how does this scale up? I mean, how do huge companies get thousands of different people all pulling in the exact same direction? Well, it turns out these individual goals are just the building blocks for a much larger strategy. And this right here is the absolute key. It's not enough for everybody to just have their own little SMART goals. They all have to connect. The goals need to cascade down from the very top, the big company mission, all the way to every single person's daily tasks. Every small action has to serve that one bigger objective. So here's what that looks like in the real world. You've got this huge strategic goal, right? Increase revenue by 25% in 5 years. So to support that, you create a specific tactic, let's say a new promotion for retailers. And that tactic gets its own clear, SMART metric, like tracking exactly how many new stores sign on. You see, every single level is connected, and most importantly, it's all measurable. But the really crucial point here is that you can't just measure one thing. You need a mix. You have to track what are called intermediate metrics. So what's happening before a sale, like your website traffic or brand awareness. And you have to measure the end results, what happens after the sale, like market share or how much people are buying. It's all about getting that balanced, complete picture of how you're performing. But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. Because even if you have the best framework in the world, you can fall into a massive trap, the trap of measuring the wrong thing, of chasing these popular numbers, these vanity metrics that feel really important but are actually leading you completely astray. So let me ask you this. If you had to pick just one metric, the one number to rule them all in business, what would it be? For a lot of people, the answer seems pretty obvious. Market share. I mean, it makes sense, right? Being number one in your field seems like the ultimate sign of success. But what if chasing that number one spot is actually a terrible idea? This is just a staggering statistic. I want you to let that sink in for a second. More than 70% of the time, the company making the most money is not the one with the biggest market share. So chasing that top spot, no matter the cost, can actually destroy your profitability. And here is a totally genius example of how to think differently. Lego had this incredible realization. They weren't just competing for share of the toy market. They were competing for share of children's time. And all of a sudden, their competitors weren't just other toy companies. They were video games, smartphones, YouTube, everything. That simple shift in perspective completely redefined their entire strategy. Okay, so if market share is a trap, what about customer satisfaction? Surely keeping your customers happy has got to be the golden ticket to success, right? Well, it turns out that connection isn't nearly as straightforward as you might think. Just think about this for a second. On the American Customer Satisfaction Index, Walmart is consistently ranked near the bottom. Nordstrom? They're always near the top. They have completely opposite philosophies on customer service. And yet, they are both wildly profitable, dominant companies. What this proves is that there's no single path, and a super high satisfaction score isn't always required for success. And if you need more proof, here's the knockout punch. Research shows that changes in a company's customer satisfaction scores can explain less than 1% of the changes in its stock price. Less than 1%. So yeah, it feels important, but it is definitely not the silver bullet metric that's going to guarantee financial success. So, after all that, where does this leave us? Well, it brings us right back to the most important question of all. If those popular metrics are flawed, what should we actually be measuring? So here's the game plan, the big takeaway. First, you got to use that SMART framework to make your goals real and actionable. Second, you have to make sure all those little goals cascade, that they all serve the big mission. And third, and this is maybe the most important, you have to be absolutely ruthless about what you measure. Don't fall into the trap of those shiny, popular silver metrics. Focus on what actually drives profit and creates real long-term value. And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. In your own life or in your work, what's that popular, easy-to-measure goal that might actually be distracting you from what really matters? What's the vanity metric that you're chasing? And what should you be measuring instead?